the top of my head. And I was like, think about the top of my head. And I was like, why is the top of my head in this email? So it was sort of comical. Then when I seen it, I said, oh my God. So needless to say, I just shot her off an email and said, okay, you know, I'll do it. And I have another engagement that I have to run to because I also work for the census. And so I mobilized the faith-based community in the southeast Michigan. So when I leave here, I'll be going out to Inkster, Michigan, in order to meet with pastors from one jurisdiction in Church of God in Christ. They got about 14.
Wow.
But before we start, can we start with prayer? Oh, did you all already have prayer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're covered.
I'm covered by His blood.
Yes.
Just to tell you some things about me is I'm the youngest of 10 children. Wow. And I have 8 sisters and a brother. 2 of my sisters have gone on to be with the Lord. And I'm my mama's baby. But it was interesting growing up. We had lots of fun. We still have a lot of fun. But one of the things that really inspired me as a writer was when I was a young girl, I guess when I was about between the ages of 5 and 10, I won a writing contest, but it didn't really have an impact on me. And then when I was between 10 and, I guess I was like 13, I was 13 years old, I won a writing contest. And the writing contest was, I didn't know it was a contest. Basically what I was doing, they said they gave a writing assignment saying write to somebody. They had different things, and I chose this young guy who was contemplating suicide. And so I wrote in order to encourage him with all the reasons of why to live. And I remember just giving him a litany of things of the reason why he should live. And so I won the contest. I won a contest that I didn't even know I had entered, actually. And I got this album called Am I My Brother's Keeper? And I lost the album, but my brother had it. And the good part about my brother having this album is my brother is my #1 fan. And he encouraged me about my writing even when I didn't have confidence in it.
Wow.
And so one of the things that I went through was when I was in school, my biggest, especially like grade school, my biggest concern was dressing up and being seen. And it was not studying. So I spent the majority of my time dressing up and being seen. I was considered one of the best dressed kids in my school. And so needless to say, you couldn't pay me not to go to school because that was my show place. But I didn't get a lot of the foundation that I needed, but I could write. But I didn't realize I couldn't write until I got to Wayne State University. And then I had gone through Wayne County Community College, and I got to Wayne State University, and I took my first journalism course. And the guy called me in about 4 weeks into the course, and I said, oh, he's calling me in to tell me I'm this great writer. But he called me in and he said he couldn't understand that I had such a command of theme in carrying the thought from one idea to another, and then all the way to the conclusion. He said, but you didn't get grammatical. He said, it's like you didn't have any grammar skills. So, needless to say, he was a white guy, and I thought that he was just prejudiced. That was my first thought, was that he was just prejudiced. He didn't tell me to give up. He told me to go back and learn all the things that I needed to learn, and then, you know, would keep fulfilling my dream. And I cried all the way home. Don't know how I made it home on the freeway because tears was just streaming down my face. But that night I did make a decision. I made a decision that I wasn't going to give up. But also that night, what happened was a lot of fear entered me about writing. So I went years where if you asked me to write a letter, it would take me days because of the fear. So I graduated electronic journalism, the whole 9 yards. I went on, I moved to Washington, D.C., working in public relations and marketing, but I was always afraid of my writing. I was always afraid that people were going to find out I could not write well. So what I learned about fear is this, is that when you allow fear to come in, fear just bursts into every aspect of your life. And so even the areas where you have confidence, fear starts taking over. So in 1998, I lost a job. Not because of my writing, but because of my outspokenness. But it wasn't because of my writing. And but when I lost the job, it was right after my mom had died, and I couldn't understand that my mother had died, but I had this euphoric joy. And remember I told you I'm a mama's baby, so I was a baby, I was a mama's girl. And but right after that, I got saved, and so just as they let me go, and there was this woman at my job, and she was a consultant, an HR consultant, and she and they had this major project. And the project, they had like 13 or 14 people from different departments. And I ended up doing this whole project and developing a whole employee orientation program for this organization. And I ended up doing it all by myself and doing all the writing and everything. But they wouldn't tell her that they were planning to fire me. But she and I figured out that they decided that if this project failed, I was going to be the blank, because they were looking for reasons. Well, it turned out that it was the best project and the most well-received project ever in this organization. So they had to go to Plan B. So Plan B was I sold advertising as well. So they decided that the advertising had dropped, but nobody knew how to figure out the commission for the advertising or how the advertising was revenue was managed except me. So they couldn't just get rid of me because I'm the only person who knew about this whole area of the company. And I took the advertising from basically nothing, and I was the only person in the company that was bringing more than $250,000